Many of you probably knew of our day one featured trailblazer, Madam CJ Walker, but here is the real question. Who taught her how the business actually worked?
I am Black Success.
Welcome back to the I Am Black Success podcast. I'm Stephen A. Hart, founder and host of the show. I'm so happy to be back and celebrating our 10th year anniversary of the launch of the podcast. We're into day 2 of 28 of our Black History Month series focused on Black trailblazers in business. Now, this isn't as much a history lesson as it is a business lesson that happens to be history. I love the quote, "Success leaves clues," and sometimes the biggest clue is hidden behind someone else's spotlight. So let's talk about our next featured trailblazer, Annie Malone. Now, a lot of people have never heard that name before. For those in the Black beauty industry, you felt her influence, whether you realized it or not. She was born in 1869, just a couple years after Madam CJ Walker, our featured trailblazer yesterday. And early on, she experimented with hair and scalp treatments for Black women at a time when most products were not made for us, not tested for us, and honestly, not safe for us. So this wasn't curiosity, this was necessity. She had a real knack for formulation, for chemistry, and for solving real problems. And she wasn't just making products that smelled nice. Women were buying relief, they were buying care, they were buying something that finally felt like it was made with them in mind. And once you understand that, the rest of this makes sense. Annie Malone builds a company known as Poro. Now, pause right there, because Poro was not just a product line. Poro was a system. She trained thousands of Black women as agents. She created beauty schools. She built factories. She built housing. And I want you to let that sit for a second. This wasn't sell a product and hope for the best. This was infrastructure. And this sounds very similar to our day one feature on Madam CJ Walker. And that's no accident. Before Madam CJ Walker became Madam CJ Walker, she worked within Annie Malone's system. That's how industries sometimes form. Someone builds the framework, someone else becomes the face. Annie Malone wasn't just building a business, she was building the foundations of what became an industry. And when you build the industry, the spotlight becomes optional. Now, if you step back and really look at it, something becomes clear. Annie Malone didn't need to be famous. She needed things to work, and they did. But her influence moved quietly through systems and people and infrastructure. And it's a different kind of power. Here's what Annie Malone teaches us. The spotlight is optional. The system is not. We live in a time where everybody wants to be seen. You want the followers, the viral moments, the press, but if you control the infrastructure, you don't have to chase attention. People will pass through what you built, whether they know your name or not. So Annie Malone's legacy wasn't loud, but it was structural. Now, at her peak, Annie Malone was one of the wealthiest Black women in America. She was also deeply philanthropic. She gave to schools, supported orphanages, and reinvested in Black institutions at scale. And history didn't quite hold her name the way it held others. That can happen when you build quietly. But again, systems don't need applause. They just need to work. And hers did. Annie Malone reminds us of this. You don't always need to be the face. Sometimes you need to be the foundation. Because when you build a system, history moves through you, whether it remembers your name or not. Black history is not just something we honor, it should be something we apply. And tomorrow we're going to talk about a man who understands the power of systems in a completely different lane. He didn't just create media, he created a mirror. We'll dive into the story and lessons of John H. Johnson. Because before social media, before algorithms, Black America still needed to see itself. I'll see you tomorrow.